Hello, lovely people. It's Loretta with Sparrowhawker Designs, and welcome back to my channel. So I got derailed, which happens quite often. I have not been on YouTube for a while. I posted a video the other day, but before that, it had been like a month. And because I was like doing a crash course on Corel, Paint Shop Pro, and that kind of thing, and I hadn't really even watched any videos, much less made any. And so I spent a lot of time catching up on videos, and I came across this video that Jeanette had done at Mi Cottage Crafts on a slow stitch project that she had done, and that she was following the Sew for the Soul with Anne Brooke. So I went on, I wrote that down, was like, all right, I gotta check that out. But I went on and tried to catch up on other videos, and Rosanne, Roxycar11, and Rachel at Roxy Creations were also doing the slow stitch project, and so I was definitely interested in Anne Brooke's video, and I went and checked it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to try this finally. And the reason I say finally is because I did not know that slow stitching was a thing. I have been on my Pinterest page, I've been collecting photographs of this type of thing for a long time, but I was just putting it under like primitive stitching or primitive fiber art, that kind of thing. I didn't really realize that it had a name and that it was called slow stitching. So there you go. I've loved this aesthetic for a very long time. And so I thought, well, I'm going to give it a try. So up here are my hexies. I did the burrow stitch and the cross stitch throughout. I did a feather stitch over here, and just a piece off of an old doily. And here are my yo-yos, which in England they call them Suffolk puffs, which I just never heard that before, and I absolutely love it. And I just think it's so funny that you know, the Brits make it sound so much more glamorous, you know, a Suffolk puff, where in America it's like, we got yo-yos. So I just think that's so funny. And then in the heart, so I wanted to tell you about the heart a little bit. There was a crazy quilter in my group named Iris who passed away a year or two ago, and when she did, her sister had sent us some of her crazy quilt stash because she didn't quilt, and there were these two pre-cut hearts. They're cut out of an old quilt, and you know, it's a little more country than most of the crazy quilters do, and so I thought, well, I'm definitely going to keep those because I'll probably use those. And so I used this one, and I'm going to use the other one in another block. And so I did the X's, and then the beads. These are all beads instead of French knots, because okay, so this is my confession. I absolutely stink at making French knots, and I get really frustrated, so I thought I'm just going to do beads instead. So X's and O's inside the heart, and then the feather represents light as a feather. So yeah, I did the burrow stitch, the X stitch, and then I did the blanket stitch around the heart, and then the feather stitch. This right here is a piece, it's the very, very end of a spool of burlap, I guess ribbon, like a burlap ribbon, and so I just cut that off and put that on there because I really liked it. And then here's some more beads, and then there's some sequins. And then that says, listen to the voice in your heart. So the one thing I did want to warn you guys about the heart, is that so on the back you have, sorry there, my traffic is really loud here. you have your batting on the back, and then this is a pre-quilted, you know, it came out of an old quilt, so you've got 3 layers to that. So it was, then I had the fabric underneath it, so I was embroidering through 5 layers of fabric. It was not easy, and I actually got like a little, look, I thought I was going to get a blister on my thumb, so I went and got my rubber thumb and put it on. And there was even times where I just was like, yeah, I'm just going to use my little jewelry pliers to pull the needle through. But I mean, it was completely worth it. I love the way it turned out, so it didn't bother me at all to do that. So anyway, I think I'm going to do a wall hanging with it. I know Anne Brooke's, you know, her whole thing is to just sit down and stitch and not actually make anything. But I stitch a lot, so you know, that really wasn't the goal for me. So I thought I would actually make a wall hanging. So I've got 6, I have 8 cut out, 8 of the batting cut out, but I might only do 6. It just depends. So that brings me to, where did my piece of fabric go in all this stash, right? So this is the, this piece of fabric is the inspiration actually for, and it is right here in the block. So this belonged to my dad's mother. It was in her stash of old feed sack fabric that my aunt gifted to me. You know, she didn't use it all, and so she gave me what was left. I just love it. I'm really into the pink and blue and brown and beige and that kind of thing right now. It's the same color scheme as my crazy quilt. And so, I don't know, this is just sort of fairy tale dreamlandy looking fabric to me. It's got to be at least 90 years old, and it's very soft. And so I thought, and there was not very much of this at all when she gave it to me, so I think I've used it in 1 or 2 other things. So I thought I'm just going to use all of it in this project, and the wall hanging is going to go up in my living room. So anyway, that was sort of the inspiration. So I started pulling things to go with this, and it was funny because I was pulling from the same stash for the crazy quilt. I was like, this is crazy. Anyway, so I've got my laces and my coffee dyed cheesecloth, and just a bunch of, let me see if I can turn this way. You can see just a bunch of fabrics. There's no way I'll use all of these. In fact, I probably won't even use 1/10 of them because you just need very little pieces. I like this piece too. It's a little bit thicker, kind of an upholstery. But anyway, I figure I will have a lot to look through. I will have fun going through them. And some laces and trims over here. And then I have some hand-stamped fabrics, little birds and that type of thing. I probably will use the tree for sure because I'm kind of a tree person. Cute little birds and some words like sparkle and yeah, that type of thing. So I am super excited about this project. I want to thank you, Anne and Jeanette and Roxy and Rosanne and everybody who's playing along so that I would find it in my stream and have some fun as well. I think that was, but yeah, like I really need another project. I have like 3 other projects going on right now, so this was kind of a derailment, as I said, but I'm super excited about it. And you know what? When the muse hits you over the head, you should listen to her. So I think that's all for now. Oh, I was going to say that I'm thinking about making some slow stitching kits to put in my Etsy store. Let me know if you think that would be a neat idea or not. I know that there are a lot of people out there who watch a lot of YouTube who live in the middle of, you know, places that don't have access to, yeah, there are some places, I mean, even in St. Louis, we've only got like, I think 2 quilt shops left, you know, so, well, I guess there's probably 4 within a 30-mile radius in a major metropolitan area. So I know there are a lot of places, more rural areas, that don't have quilt stores. They don't, have access to a lot of things. I know some people don't like coordinating their own fabrics. I worked in a quilt store for a while. I know there are a lot of people who really do. They don't like picking out their own fabrics and that kind of thing. So I thought I would put together some kits, and then I would throw in some hand-stamped fabric in the kits as well. And then I thought I would maybe pre-cut some circles for you to make your own yo-yos. I know a lot of people don't like to cut circles, and I actually don't mind it, and I'm actually pretty good at it, which of all the things to be good at, right, cutting a circle, but it's one of my talents. And I might throw in some pre-cut hexes, that type of thing. The only thing that I might not throw in is the thread. You let me know what you think about that. Some people are really picky about their threads, and if I was gonna put threads in the kit, it probably would be just regular DMC floss. So, let me know if you think that would be okay, or if I should just let people do their own thing with their own threads. But again, I mean, if you live where there's a Walmart, you at least have access to the DMC thread. But yeah, so some people don't have access to this kind of stuff. So I thought if they wanted to do a slow stitch project, I could maybe make up some kits for them. So you let me know if you think that's a decent idea or not. So anyway, everybody have a great day, and I hope everybody's happy and healthy. And thank you, Anne, Rosanne, Roxy, and Rachel, for turning me on to this. And, well, I don't really know if they turned me on to it. I always knew it was there, but I guess maybe just really lighting the fire under my butt to give it a try, because I'm super excited about it, and I love the way it turned out. So anyway, everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.